Okay. Everyone, we'll get started in a couple minutes. Don't mind me in the background, just poking on some emails while we wait for the start time. Hey, David. Okay, everyone, we'll get started in a second. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking some time. Thank you for signing up with Vendorful. I'm going to walk you through getting started, how to add sources to your content library, both documents and also a new feature, web pages. And then we'll show you how to run an RFP in either Word format or Excel format. So let's just try to get through it quickly. Start with adding sources to your content library. So when you come to the dashboard, click Add Sources to Content Library. You'll be taken to a page like this. And you see there's two options here. You can import files or you can import a URL. I'm going to start with the URL because it's the easiest. I'm going to delete this at the end because just to set some background here, in this demo environment, this is all about a fictitious company called Acme CRM. So there's a bunch of information in here about CRM content, CRM RFPs, etc. And Acme CRM doesn't actually exist, so we'll just use the Vendorful website for now. But you can just enter in the URL. It could be your homepage, could be maybe a page in your knowledge base, whatever it is, any individual page that has relevant content that is going to help you answer questionnaires, whether it's RFPs, something that has marketing or product information, or maybe security questionnaires if it's some kind of documentation page, DDQs if you have privacy policies, or whatever else is relevant. So we'll just import the URL, we load the page, and then we parse it, we chunk it up, and then we add it to your knowledge base as a content source. And that's available to then provide additional information when you are responding to RFPs and filling out questionnaires. So let's go back to the content library. Like I mentioned, this one's actually not relevant to Acme CRM, so I'm going to delete it. But that's how you add it. It's really simple, very straightforward. The other things you can do is add text documents or Excel files. Now, Excel files and structured documents are kind of the most impactful, because it will tell the AI, like, hey, here's a specific question, and this is how we've answered it in the past. But if you don't have those, that's okay. Whatever content you do have, we'll take, and the more content you add, the better. Generally, we say, maybe 5 to 10 pieces of content to respond to an RFP, but it really depends on the type of content. One really long, comprehensive RFP is worth more than a few short documents. Okay, when you load up an Excel file, you'll see the spreadsheet in the browser. And since a spreadsheet can kind of be anything, we just ask you to help tell us which are the questions in here and which are the answers. Now, we're actually working on some AI tools to automate that, but for now, the human annotator is a little more reliable. It doesn't take very long. You see, you can just highlight the questions, click over here, select answers, highlight the answers, and there's also a shortcut. If I click on the top of a column here and say these are all questions, then I'm going to click select answers, and then highlight column C, and all of the answers are selected. Now, if I've accidentally selected something that shouldn't be a question or an answer, just click clear, and it removes it. But actually, I do want that one to be a question and an answer. And so I have selected 35 questions and answers. When I'm good, click Add Content. It all goes into your knowledge base. So you see, we have all of these question and answer pairs available to help the AI answer additional questions in the future. Okay, and then the last thing you can do is you can import different types of documents, so PDF files, Word documents, etc. So I'm going to upload a PDF file here. It's our business continuity and disaster recovery plan. Since we're not trying to extract question and answer pairs out of this, we just start parsing it, and we split it up into text chunks and store that in your content library. And now it's available for the AI to use when it's answering RFPs, which is what we're going to do next. Okay, so to start filling out an RFP, just click on the Response Assistant and start a response. Now we support RFPs in a couple of different formats. I'm going to start with Excel. So we've got an incoming RFP in Excel format, and we also support it in Word format. And they work just a little bit differently, but very similarly. So this will look very similar to what you just saw with the annotation of the spreadsheets. You see that we've got some questions here, we've got answers. Now, this one has a pretty common format where you've got a multiple choice column here with yes, no, NA as options, and then a comment field. And not everything has a yes, no answer, like these ones do not. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, again, use the shortcut here. We've got all these questions over here. For these cases where you've got two answers that you want to fill out, you've got a yes, you've got a multiple choice and a comment, select both. And then the AI will actually figure out, like, okay, I need to look at the options here under yes, no, NA, and choose the appropriate option. And then, if a comment is necessary, provide a comment. And again, same shortcuts apply. Select the whole column. And then if I just go through and select these, fill out the yes, no's, everything that is an answer, just highlight it as an answer, and the machine will figure it out. Okay, so I've got a total of 36 here. Now that includes the yes, no some of these might look like they're double counted because we will count this as 2 answers, right? So there's a comment field and a yes, no answer. Okay, so when we're good to go, we just select here, click submit. And what happens now is the AI is parsing up the document, understanding the context and the questions that are being asked, and then drawing the most relevant content from your content library in order to produce answers specific to those questions. So this will take, it takes about, on average, about somewhere between 5 and 15 seconds per answer. So this will take a couple minutes to get through. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that, I'm going to show you the other feature we've got, where you can just ask questions directly of your content library. We have such a feature that's so new, I forgot to even mention it. Content labels. Let's go back into our content library here. So let us say that we've got, we want to, I can only do this at the time of import. So let me re-import something here. I'm going to import the business continuity plan again. And I'm messing this up on the fly. I need to get training on how to use this. The important thing is you can actually label your content, and then when you are filling out RFP responses and when you are asking questions of the AI, you can select specific subsets of your content. So let's just say that we wanted to have security specific content, or maybe we had multiple products. We wanted to have something about CRM, something about marketing automation. We can label the content accordingly and just select from the specific pieces of content that are relevant to answering the specific question. But that'll be a demo for another time. For now, just want to ask the AI a question. Let's see, what is our disaster? Let me ask something more specific. How often do we test our disaster recovery procedures? Let's just say that a prospect has reached out and asked you a question. They're doing their due diligence. They want to understand your disaster recovery procedures. And they ask how often you test your disaster recovery procedures. You could go and you could find a relevant expert inside your organization, bother them, or you can ask the AI, assuming you've got content related to that in your content library. The AI will draw it out and answer the question. So there we go. We test our disaster recovery procedure every 6 months. And you can look down here and see where it's drawing that information from. This is kind of your audit trail. How is it arriving at that? And then you've got text in here. Here we go. That it's tested every 6 months. Exactly. That's where it's coming from. This feature, by the way, is available through Teams and Slack integration if you're on our Pro plan or up. So you don't have to come into the application. You can actually just ask questions directly in the channel where you spend your day talking to your team already. All right, let's go check in on the status of the response. Looks like it is done. Okay, so let's talk about what we are seeing here. We see that we had 38 questions. The AI was able to answer 37 of them based on our existing content, and one of them didn't answer. So let's start there. Which city has the best pizza? Okay, so there was a question in here about pizza, and there's no content related to pizza in the library. So rather than make something up, you may have heard something about AIs hallucinating. We've trained ours very hard to not hallucinate, to instead say, I can't answer that when it can't answer, when it doesn't have the right information. And you can come in here and edit your response and say, okay, New York has the best pizza. And we can add that to our response. Let me see if we scroll back up to the top here. We're tracking the different sources here. We've got 37 questions that were answered by the AI, one that was answered by a human. Now let's look at the AI answered questions. So you can see that it's filled out everything. Everything looks kind of pretty reasonable on the surface here. Let's drill into one of these. to, explore both the data sources and some of the other things you can do with it. So let's talk about let's talk about user experience. Why not? So we click in here. If I want to edit this, I can just edit the answer. And maybe use the AI's answer as a base, or I can edit what it said, or I can add to it, whatever I want to do. Also, view related content here. So let's just say I actually prefer this answer. All right, this is one we've used in the past. This came from a past RFP I'm familiar with. Maybe it's an RFP that we won. Maybe I just like the way it's phrased. Maybe I know that I don't have to go have this reviewed by somebody else if I'm unsure, and so I can just select that, and I can use this as my answer. So we have all of these other answers available to you that we're selecting here. The AI is kind of picking out the most relevant, and so if you just want to use one of those, that's fine. You just click and use it. But I could just also switch back to using my generated answer. The other thing you can do is you can actually look here and you can see, again, the audit trail. How did it come up with this answer? Is there something in here that seems a little weird to me? Well, maybe I will look in here and I will see, like, okay, what is it? I don't know why it's talking about UX designers. Okay, it's talking about UX designers because, well, it's right here in the first response. That's where it's getting that information from. And then I can also look at content library here, other forms of document, other text content that it's possibly drawing part of this answer from. But it looks like it's mostly drawing the answer from kind of the best match here, which is a question about user experience, because the AI will have all this other information to draw on, but it knows to pull and draw on the most relevant information. But it has this other data available to supplement it as needed. Okay, so I'm going to keep the answer in this case. Now, when I'm done, if I'm happy with all of this, just click download the response, and it's going to export this in the Excel format that I received it in. So in the format I need, ready to go right back to the customer. Off you go. Now, I mentioned there is another type of document we support, which is Word documents. RFPs in Excel are more common, especially for commercial RFPs for private companies that are running RFPs, but especially in the government sector and some other not-for-profits and government adjacent RFPs. Word format is very, very common. Also very common for DDQs and other applications. So we do support RFPs and questionnaires in Word format. The experience is very similar to what you just saw with Excel. Now, the main difference is that the format of a Word document is a bit different from Excel. It's a little bit more structured, but also a little bit harder to parse. So we know that everything in here is kind of split up into paragraphs and sentences, and we do our best to identify, okay, these look like, this looks like a single chunk of text, this looks like a single chunk of text, this looks like a single chunk of text. Now, again, right now, we need you as a human to help tell us where's the questionnaire, what questions do you need us to answer. And the way you do that, annotation, very similar to what you do with the Excel files, just select, I can select an individual question, say this is a question, this is a question, this is a question, this is a question, and I can also bulk select them, just kind of click and drag. All these things are questions. These are all questions. These are all questions. And so on. Just highlight a few more until we've got the whole document covered. So I've now highlighted the whole thing. This one's a little bit longer than the Excel file. But you can see it just takes a few seconds to annotate the entire document. So we've now identified, we've got, actually doesn't tell us how many questions, but we've selected some number of questions here. Now, the other thing you can do here is merge. So, like I said, we're doing the best we can to sort of figure out which of these chunks of text represent individual questions. But sometimes a question will be split up across a couple paragraphs. There might be, sort of a explanation followed by a question, or there might be kind of a compound question. So let's just say that actually, we know that these two pricing questions or these two pricing lines that we've identified here as separate questions, we should actually answer them as a single question. So you click the merge button and just highlight these two. And now I'm going to merge them. Okay, so now this is merged into a single question. The AI will answer that as one question rather than two. And you can do that as many times as you need to just kind of mark up this document, get it looking the right way. Okay, so then when we're ready to go, we submit this, and the experience is just like what you saw with the Excel experience. It's going to produce answers to these questions, again, about 5 to 15 seconds per question, per answer. And then at the end, you'll be able to review them. You'll be able to view the content sources, and do all the same things we just went through with the Excel version. Exactly the same experience. So don't need to hold you up waiting on that. I will, at this point, let you all go. The other thing I will actually, before we go, I will just highlight, if you run into any issues, you should always feel free to reach out to us. Click the help button down here. We have a knowledge base. You can search for answers in here. You can always contact us. We try to be very responsive on support. Pride ourselves on it. This goes to actual humans, and we're here to help. With that, thank you very much for trying Vendorful. Best of luck, and again, any questions at any point, just reach out to us. Thank you very much.